So I wanted to do another voice memo then about the twin flame journey. And I've made a number of videos about twin flames and what I believe they are, and false twin flames as well. And these are all my opinions only. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just someone who felt like I'd been touched by the journey of either false twin or real twin. And it's a very peculiar journey. It's very peculiar for a number of reasons. I think one of the core values of the journey, the core lessons, because it is a teaching journey as much as anything else, one of the core lessons is it helps you do some shadow work that maybe you didn't even know you needed to do. And when I talk about shadow work, I'm talking about Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst, and his idea that of the shadow is the repository for all the things we don't look at, we don't think about, the things we stuff down inside of us, the times we tell ourselves we're okay when we're not, as well as any habits and unconscious stuff that's going on with us, you know. When you think about the brain, only about 5% of it is said to be conscious, and the rest, the 95%, represents your unconscious mind. And so what is left unresolved in you that you didn't even know about, or you weren't really consciously thinking about? Because very often our childhoods will leave us with something, some core wounding, areas of feeling very small inside ourselves, perhaps hangovers of when we were small and hangovers of when we were a bit awkward and not really feeling very confident in ourselves. But you know, we go out into the world and we do things and we start to achieve things and we start to achieve milestones, and maybe something in our jobs or a course or this or that. And so we start to associate a little bit more with the person we're becoming and a little bit less with the person that we were, to a degree. And sometimes it all comes flooding back when we visit family, and especially at Christmas, because suddenly you can be plunged into the same family dynamic of the person that you were maybe 20 years ago. You can find yourself back in the same sort of family wars, maybe with a sister or a brother or an aunt or a cousin, trying to deal with the very same sort of wounds that you've been trying to escape all of these years. But the twin flame journey is a little bit like that on steroids, because you think you're relatively okay, and then suddenly you're in this situation where your soul believes it's recognised theirs from maybe 20 lifetimes ago, that you've been together in maybe 15 lifetimes, and then maybe in 5 you were apart, and now suddenly they're there and your soul is yearning for them. And then you're having these experiences, you're having past life memories or awakenings, you're having a sense of certainty that your soul knows theirs on a very deep level. You're having a sense of certainty that your soul and their soul are actually connected, or that they belong together. And then it gets very painful that you're apart. You might be feeling their energy. Some people even remote view their twins by accident. All sorts of things can happen. On the 3D physical plane, it's like the antithesis of this. It's like either there's awkward silences where you don't gel, you can't really talk to each other. Communication with your twin can be the most difficult of all. You don't feel like you and them could work at all. You feel like such vastly different characters. There's this weird awkwardness, this weird compulsion to reach out, this need for them, this yearning that goes on into the night. And then in the day, maybe you're saying hi, and then That's it. Maybe it's the odd little word here and there. There's no chat, very little talk, a very little connection in the 3D world to anchor you in with any confidence to a feeling that you could come together. So there's this real dichotomy, this vast love that's bigger than anything that you can hold in the 5D world. And then in the 3D world, you're barely talking to each other. So it's such a strange thing. And you can plunge into a dark night of the soul very easily when you realise that there's nothing there in the 3D to anchor you. Maybe they are very happy in a new relationship, or maybe you are, or maybe they're unhappily in a relationship, or maybe you are. But the way to find your way back to each other in the 3D can seem impossible, beset with so many obstacles. And you can plunge into the darkest and darkest of night, the most deep, profound despair, because this can feel like your one true love. You can feel love that lights you up on a cellular level, literally nuclear fission taking place inside every one of your cells simultaneously. You feel happiness erupting out of you when you think about them, and you think about the possibility dancing inside you. And then there's the crushing realization that it can never be. But along with that dark night of the soul, there is an awakening, a spiritual awakening. And you can have the awakening first, followed by the dark night, just as easily as you could have it the other way round. You might suddenly discover that you're psychic, you've got psychic powers emerging, along with memories of past lives. The spiritual journey will enfold you and hold you with love, with memories, with the certainty that you are not just your physical body, that you are more than that. You're a soul temporarily housed within this physical body. So you've got the most profound despair, the deepest of love, that you'll never experience again. And all of that is transformative. It's transforming you from the inside out. You might feel like it's just ripping you apart, but it's ripping you apart to put you back together again, stronger, brighter, wilder, more certain of yourself than you've ever been. It's entirely possible that you'll realise that this person that you adore is an avoidant, and you're hoping for something from them, but you're getting breadcrumbs. Maybe a wishy-washy attitude, maybe they dance towards you 1 minute and then dance away the next. This lack of reciprocity, this wishy-washiness can feel devastating when you feel so much love for them. And so it will rip you apart, and it will make you look at things in an entirely different way. And you'll look at them, and you'll look at you, and you'll look at why. Why are you waiting for them? And what you'll realise is you're in love with an idea. You're in love with an idea of them. That maybe you do love their soul that much, and that's beautiful. But if they can't show up in the 3D in the way that you want them to, then you cannot love their 3D self in the same way that you love their soul. And it will make you look at your relationships, and it will make you look at your childhood. Chances are they'll trigger you. They'll trigger you completely unintended. You'll realise they're just like your dad or something like this, and you'll realise suddenly a pattern of behaviour with men over your life whereby you've been waiting for breadcrumbs from people, trying to win over the people that seem the most indifferent. And that will force you into a long, long look at yourself. And you'll realise that your childhood made you a bit insecure, that maybe your dad or your mum or both inadvertently, the way they acted made you feel like you weren't good enough. And so in chasing approval from them. You found yourself transferring that and chasing approval with all of these other guys that you've been out with. The more indifferent, the greater the love. Maybe you fall in love with the potential of who they could be. But there's a real falseness there. Because if they're not delivering, then that's not who they are. That's not how they're showing up. And that's important. And so there's a few different things going on. On the one hand, if you're falling in love with narcissists or avoidance, you're falling in love with the idea of somebody, but you're falling in love with the honeymoon when they're showing up in a love bombing phase. And you fall in love with that. And then subsequently they start pulling away, growing more distant, maybe completely and dramatically, maybe just over time. But you're still clinging on to that idea of who they were. And that isn't who they were, not really. That was an idea. They were showing up in a very showy way to hook you. And they did that. And the time that they start pulling back is the time they start revealing who they truly are. And when that behaviour becomes consistent, you must pay attention, because they're revealing who they are and who they want to be and how they want to show up in this relationship. And if that is not in any way good enough, then you must speak out. You must speak up. You cannot just wait and hope and wait. You have to say, I'm sorry that this is not what I wanted. This is not who I thought you were. And you must walk away. And what you'll probably find is over the course of your life, you never walked away. Maybe they walked away from you eventually, but you never were the one to walk away. You weren't strong enough. But what this makes you do is get the self-worth to pick yourself up after your dark night of the soul and to say, enough. I cannot do this anymore. And what you do is you pour all of that love, all of that energy back into who you are, back into your life. Nurture yourself as you would nurture a very dear friend. Recognise the gifts within you, which are not insignificant. Recognise you are here to deliver those gifts to the world. Recognise the love that you have. Recognise the person that you are, that is worthy as anyone else in this world. Pour that love into you. Pour that love into your creativity. What are you here to do? Not what are you here to show up as in the 9 to 5 necessarily, but what are you here to do in the times in between the work, the job, the day job? Who are you? What gifts, what talents do you have? Nurture those with everything you've got. And even though it might be the most painful thing you ever go through in your life, walking away, learning to honour yourself, cherish yourself, and walking away from this, pulling your energy back and going, you know what, I'm not going to hold space for them any longer. They haven't come forward. They've shown me they can't come forward. I'll not hold space for that now. I'll close that door gently, quietly, come back to myself and my life, because they can't give me what I want. They can't give me the love that I want. They can't give me the respect that I want. They can't give me the care and the solace, the reassurance that I want, the stability that I want. They're too in and out and wishy-washy. And indeed, in some cases, for a twin flame and false twin flame, you're just going round the merry-go-round again, because you'll have done this rodeo already with this person, maybe 5 years ago, maybe 5 months ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 20, maybe 30. This won't be your first rodeo with this person, and it might not be your last. And when you do this, when you do all of this, and when the pain ebbs away, and it will, the deepest, most profound pain you'll ever experience, But if you just sit with it, let it do its thing, let it transform you, and pour that energy back into yourself, then God and Goddess will hold you and they will look after you. And you will find that even though you felt so much pain, that within 6 months, the pain just feels like a bad dream you might have once had, and you're now happy and fulfilled, wildly happy with your creative pursuits, really fulfilled with your creative pursuits, discovering new parts of yourself that are delightful and fun, and your creative talents. You're discovering new parts of yourself. And then after a time, you're going to suddenly look at yourself and you're going to feel proud of who you are. You're going to feel proud of yourself, that you withstood all of that and that you did not chase, because you intrinsically understood, no, I am worth more. And whereas in the past you chased, you'd been down that road and you know how that feels. And you understood that chasing did not feel good. You didn't have that feeling in yourself of being proud of who you were. But now you do. Now you do. Now you do. You can hold your head up high. You took care of yourself. Your inner masculine, as they'd say, has done a really good job taking care of you, looking after you, so that your inner feminine, your creativity, your softness can shine. And it's that balance as well, that yin-yang, that balance between soft and receptive and passionate and fiery, and standing your ground and holding your boundaries and taking care of yourself and protecting yourself as you would have protected a small child, fiercely, passionately, with great love, great compassion and kindness. It's this balance of soft and yielding and fiery or harder and all of that, of practicality and logic and creativity and fun. All of it in balance, all of it, this steady flux and flow of energies and polarities, the dancing between the two. And when you start to master all of this, you realise this is a crash course in self-mastery and nothing less. But when you get to that point, you reach these realisations, that's when the true magic begins on this journey. And you'll realise that your twin was a mirror, a perfect mirror, showing you all that needed to be healed from your childhood, from your adulthood, and many of these things that you'd barely looked at. Sure, you were aware you had a bit of a record, perhaps, when it came to guys of chasing after some people who weren't worthy and chasing after people who were indifferent towards you. But maybe you'd put it down to bad luck, and now you can see why. And we can't truly heal a thing until we really understand it intrinsically. So now you're healing past patterns that have moulded you and shaped you and left you feeling less than adequate, less than good enough, trying to win the approval of another. And what you're realising now, of course, is that you never needed their approval. All you needed was your own. And now you've got it. Now you are approving your own projects, approving your own damn self, not giving a toss about what other people think, not really. Not in a bad way, not in a disrespectful way, but just in a way of knowing who you are and believing who you are and believing in yourself enough to take a punt on yourself, to put yourself out there in the world, sharing your gifts with ease and joy and not flinching and not running. And if you get a bit of criticism, not running either. Understanding that, yes, you're not everyone's cup of tea. You're not for everyone. No one is. But the people you are for, your output, your creativity, what you're here to do, it's going to be golden for those people. And that matters. All of this matters. So this journey, this insane journey that you're on, it's so valuable. It's teaching you the greatest lessons. And if you didn't need them, you wouldn't be doing this. And it can feel like hell at times, yes it can, but again the rewards are huge, because this reward is learning that you had the answers within you all along, that you never needed anyone else's approval, that you're worthy and beautiful and lovely. Yeah, sure, you're not perfect, you're human, you fall over sometimes. Maybe you're a bit of a knobhead sometimes, as we all are. But that's okay. Doesn't make you any less. And now you're flying. And now you're doing things that would have once scared you and intimidated you. And you're taking them on with comfy ease. And you're not prideful and you're not arrogant. You're not narcissistic. You're just comfy with who you are. And you're willing to share those gifts. Sing your story. Help up others who are still a bit lost in the dark. So if you're listening to this tonight, I don't know if it resonates. Maybe you're still a bit lost in the dark and wondering if any of this can get better. Well, it can, and it does, and it will. Because you can and will be remade. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help for someone. You know, if you think you're on a twin flame or a false twin flame journey, don't be afraid to ask for help from another, a counsellor, a shaman. It doesn't matter who, if they resonate with you and if they can give you some help. But you can come through this. It's designed to help you to see what needs to be healed and transformed. And then you're going to come through it. And it's going to be so beautiful on the other side. And right now it doesn't feel like that, but it will. And maybe you're listening to this and maybe you're all in your head about whether it's twin flame or false twin flame, and maybe you're listening to collective readings and trying to just get something, some glimmer that maybe they'll come back one day. And again, hard though it might be to hear, and impossible though it might be to hear, you will come to a point where you no longer feel like you desperately need them to come back at all, where you're quite happy where they are, where you can wish them well and just get on with your life. And maybe one day you will find your way back to each other one day somehow, but with that attitude, it won't be with desperation. It won't be from a place of desperation. It won't be blinded by the intensity and the heat of it all. It will be something else entirely different. And maybe you've come through this and maybe you've discovered all of this, and maybe you're so happy because now you're finally starting to see who you are, see the gifts that you had all along that you didn't even realise. You didn't let yourself shine, and now you're shining. That's a beautiful thing. So whoever you are in the world tonight, I just wish you well. I wish you all the best, all best wishes. It's a tough journey, but there is so much beauty there. There is so much treasure hidden in the darkness, hidden in the darkest of nights. And the treasure is you, my love. The treasure is you.